All right, everybody, welcome to NorCal Sports Network. And this is the same hat that Brock Purdy's dad wears. Chat loves it when Marty Lurie comes on.
Anytime you lose a game this time of year, when you can't go backwards, it's a problem.
Crank it up. All right, everybody, welcome on in. NorCal Sports Network. Monday, February 17th. Little Giants opening day spring action for you. Be talking about that, talk about the roster. And before we do get into this, let's thank our sponsor of the show, Chapman Law Group. Chapman Law Group, located in Marin, licensed in all of California. Check them out as they will help you, whatever that need might be. Maybe it's a personal injury situation. You got a personal injury situation and you need help? Give Chapman Law Group a call. They're located again in Marin, and they're at 415-613-9483. Make sure you let them know NorCal Sports Network sent you. Chapman Law Group. All right, Loge. A big day at the ballpark for you and I. Let me get the band, turn them up a little bit, and then turn them off. There we go. All right. Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about tonight. Giants roster. Is it set? And hopefully we're working backstage crew. We're trying to get a little bit of video highlights for you from Bryce Eldridge. It was that was pretty cool. He got into the box. He's facing a lefty. First pitch just rope right down the first baseline. He pulled it on a lefty. That dude has a lightning quick bat. So
yes, he does. Yes, he does. He looks the part.
Yeah. We have a little Jung Hoo Lee highlight of him getting almost drilled first day in the box. I thought he got hit. He was like, I heard this loud scream. Like, oh!
Who was throwing, Tim? Was it Root? Landon Root?
No. I think it was
Rodriguez?
It was either Rodriguez or Duvall.
Okay. It came with some heat for sure.
It came with some heat, yeah.
It was very interesting to watch the drills today. I mean, you guys have been with us long enough to know that, we get on the Giants. We get on them for a lot of different things. We're tough love here.
Right.
We're going to call it as we see it. And but when you go out there like me and Dan did today, and at the end of the day, we're baseball fans. We're not just Giants fans. We love the game of baseball. So, for some people going out there and watching practice and watching, baseball drills is not exactly that fun. But if you love the game of baseball, then hearing the ball hit the mitt, hearing the ball hit the bat, and that pop sound and just that chitter chatter in the grass, it was a perfect day weather-wise. It was about 60, 66 when we got there, and then it warmed up about 73. Started at 10 a.m. They went for a couple of hours plus. And, we're just making our observations and talking to a few of the players and the manager. Danny got to talk to Melvin. So, yeah, it was a good day. Made some notes up here, mental notes about some certain things. So I'll let you kind of talk about what you saw first, though.
Yeah, I saw a team that seemed to be a little bit more looser than last year. Seemed to be more organized today. They seemed to get right at it. And the drills, they were, Luciano we saw in the outfield with Meckler and, of course, McRae. McRae has a really good arm. Jung Hoo Lee, we noticed arm as he was throwing balls in from the outfield into the, back to the catcher. They were, much more, didn't have a big arc on them. They were coming in
Line drive.
Straight. Yeah. And I just thought they, it's first day, but some guys look to be in pretty good shape to me.
That's what caught my eye. I mean, that's the first thing I was looking at, was not just the baseball drills or how they were throwing or how they were hitting, but what kind of shape they looked in. Just right off the bat, Jung-Hoo Lee looked a little bigger. Looked like he put on, and not, a bad type of weight, like he put on a little muscle. Matos looked a little slimmer. Last year I think he was maybe bulked up a little too much, a little too muscular. So he slimmed down a little bit, but still looked in really good shape. Ramos looked in good shape. Bailey looked like he lost a little weight because he was a little heavy. He was a little chunky in the camp last year.
Yeah. He looked a little
Bailey.
later.
Who else kind of came to mind? Eldridge comes as advertised. He's a big kid. He's put together. He's got a real quick bat. He looks as advertised, and he looks like the part. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of camp he has. Flores looked like he was in good shape for an older dude. Chapman, me and Dan were so tempted to give Yaz. He was right in front of us, right at the end of the dugout. We had so much temptation to make some comments, but we kept our cool. We didn't say nothing. We were positive guys. You would have been proud of us. We were very positive today. We didn't say nothing.
We got Bo Mel. I asked Bo Mel. He came over, signed the ball. Bo Mel, I just said, "Hey, Bob." Ron, Coach Emilio's brother, came right over. Knows my brother real well from the days of Cal. So we'll see. We're going to try and get him on the show. Already invited him. He said he would come on. Had to go through the Giants channels, which I've already done. Talked to the director of media relations, who I know because he's the one that credentialed me a couple of years ago. So hopefully that will take place. I can't guarantee it. I have no control over, how those things work out. But that would be cool to get Bo Mel on here. And, I do think overall that this is going to be, I think it's going to be a little bit of like I said on the show last night, there's some potential that it could go really well. It could also go the other way. The likelihood is it feels like it's probably a 500 club, but I do like the attitude. I sense a difference. And I'm going to see if I can pull up an article in here. There was a article that Andrew Baggerly put out today in The Athletic. And that article talked about the Giants, the very opening speech that Bob Melvin gives, but the speech he was going to give, Buster gave a speech first. And so in that speech, Bo Mel said he had to, he took out a few things that he had prepared because even though this is his 22nd season, each season has a different speech based on previous years, what the team needs are. So I think the fact that Buster spoke to the team this morning while they were all together for the first time speaks volumes, because you never were going to, who would listen to Farhan? I mean, who would listen to Farhan? You think if Farhan,
computer geeks.
Yeah. I mean, you're thinking you're looking at Humpty Dumpty.
Revenge of the Nerds, Part 4, starring Farhan.
I mean, can you imagine Farhan getting up and giving a speech to players? They would just be like, "Who's this clown?"
Be laughing their ass off. Like, what could you possibly tell us about the game of baseball?
Yeah. Well, guys, we're going to be a lot of you guys are going to be going up and down this year. and we're going to play platoon matchups, and we're going to try and win every ball game on the margins. Jeez, I can't even believe that guy lasted. I cannot believe that guy lasted.
Hard to believe. Another thing I noticed, and I talked to you about it, Dan, was Willie Adames had the reputation of being a very charismatic player, and he had a smile on his face. I mean, 171 million will do that for you, but he was talking to everybody. He was talking to the Latin players, and oh, by the way, there's a lot of Latin players in camp. There's a lot of Espanol. Dan saw me talking Spanish to a few of the players in camp. So he was talking to Spanish players. He was talking to Webb. He was talking to everybody. He's just kind of going around. He's just kind of one of those guys that connects people, and that's good. I don't know if the Giants had a guy necessarily like that. So, these are kind of the little things as far as like the mental side of the game that we kind of noticed today. But it is early. It's very early in camp. And let's see how everybody's good moods and good vibes are when people get cut that maybe think that they should have made the team. That's when it's going to be tested.
Correct. So I'm still trying to find this article. I just was reading it. It just came out a little bit ago on my phone, and I've not been able to find it. I can't seem to pull it up here, not having success. So let me see if I can pull it up here. Just got too many things going here. Okay. So maybe I can just email this to me, and then I can pull it up that way. Let's try that. Let's see if that works. Then I can pull up the article, read to you what I was just reading. I haven't even finished reading it all, guys. So I can pull it up here. Okay. Looks like I might have it here.
What did you make while you're pulling that up? What did you make of the guys that were throwing today, Dan? Landon Root, Randy Rodriguez, Doval, Burgess. I don't know too much about.
Yeah, I thought there was a lot of pop on Doval's ball and Rodriguez. They looked, like they were moving. Roop's curveball was it wasn't as breaking as much as you normally would see it, but
yeah,
they were just putting it in there, and I didn't see anything like earth-shattering, eye-popping to me, but I think one of these lefties to me is going to make the club, whether it's Burgess or Joey LaCasey. Somebody's going to make it, because the Giants have Eric Miller. That's it, as your left-handed reliever.
You need more than that.
I don't think that's going to cut it. So
in matchups late in games, Dan, and you have big left-handed hitters, you got to have more than one lefty in your bullpen.
Absolutely. So the article talks about the moment requires, a tailored message. Every team is unto itself. I'm not going to bore you with all of it. So Melvin did what he always does before the Giants' first full squad workout on Monday. He considered the message that his players needed to hear, jotted down a few talking points. Then Buster Posey stood up in the clubhouse and addressed the players first. And as Melvin listened, he began the mental strike-throughs. I actually had to cross off a few things I was going to say because he touched on them. Melvin said, so we're all kind of thinking the same things, but it's about team here. And Buster was the ultimate team player for a star. The message was, if we're going to go where we want to go, we've got to do it together. Whether the message came from the manager or the new Pobo, the subtext came through loud and clear to everyone in the room. The Giants front office and the field staff are in full alignment. Whether it relates to roster building or player development or lineup formation or pitcher usage or specific expectations that must be set, or how to create a confident and cohesive culture, or the shared pride associated with putting on a Giants uniform. That pride was expressed. I love this part, Los. That pride was expressed in a video that Melvin requested from the club's in-house production team, a montage of stirring highlights from Willie Mays to Willie McCovey to Barry Bonds, to Posey, to Lincecum, to the current group, including Logan Webb and Matt Chapman. There is always room for dialogue and disagreement, of course, but when disagreement happens often enough to become a disconnect, when there is a philosophical rift that requires daily effort to bridge, it usually results in mixed messages and misunderstandings, and it becomes impossible to hide. Major league players are too perceptive to take a manager's marching orders at face value. So, they need to create an identity, it says here. Last year's team didn't stand much chance of that. Melvin already was in the process of learning new personnel in his first season. Then in between exhibition games last spring, the Giants added Soler, Chapman, and Blake Snell. All the additions looked swell on paper, but the Giants were only able to sign all three players by waiting out the market. So yeah, I think going into this camp, it just looks like more cohesiveness. I'm not going to read all of this. Check it out, guys. Athletic. I don't want to get copyrighted here, so I can't read the whole entire article.
Yeah, well, the aspect and the part about showing videos of the Giants' greats of the past is something that they should embrace. It's something that they should endorse. One of the things Farhan did that, quite frankly, pissed me off as a Giants fan for 5 decades is he took down a lot of stuff in the clubhouse from the past, championships and murals and things like that. It's like, why? Like, the Giants have one of the most iconic franchises in history. Long before they won championships, they've had some of the best players in baseball's history. And they've always had, while he was alive, Willie Mays in the clubhouse in spring training. McCovey was in there. Gaylord Perry was in there. Just to have these icons around and pick their brain for these young players was something that just not a lot of organizations have. So you embrace that. So I'm glad they're kind of going back to the roots and being able to understand what the hell it means to be a San Francisco Giant. And being a 500 team is not cutting it. The bar has been lowered and it needs to be raised once again.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I thought another couple guys that stood out to me today, just looking at them to be, we both kind of marveled at Grant McCray, at his physique, looks like a real ball player. I thought Marco Luciano looked good out there. First time that he's been healthy day one of a camp. And, he looks energized. I think this team is going to be more tighter. I noticed one of the things we noticed as the Giants were, doing some batting practice, live batting, whoever was pitching, there were 3 guys standing behind that pitcher, whether it was Roop or Rodriguez or Burgess or Duvall. You know who those 3 guys standing, observing, watching the pitchers pitch?
The 3 veterans.
Justin Verlander, Robbie Ray, and Logan Webb. All 3 of them analyzing the pitching. So, Los brought up a good point today that, we were talking about Justin Verlander being a help to some of these younger guys. How about to Webb?
Exactly.
How about to Webb?
Yeah, Verlander has a lot of knowledge. He's pitched a lot of games. He's pitched in a lot of big games. So the thought was, well, he's going to do well with our younger pitchers. Well, he could do pretty damn good for a guy like Webb and Robbie Ray, who are not, young guys, but they're not old either. So, he has a lot of knowledge. Hey, Dave Righetti was in camp today too. Talk about another old pitcher that has some good advice maybe to give out. But no, I think Verlander, I don't know what he's going to do on the mound. Hopefully he does, decently. I don't know how much he has left in his arm, but what he does have is a lot in his brain, and he has a lot of knowledge to help and spit out, not only to the rookies and to the guys that are 22, 23, but even to a veteran like Webb, who maybe could use, a different voice to listen to, Webb is pitched the same way. He's a sinker slider pitcher. He pitches away a lot. Maybe Verlander tells him, hey, man, don't be afraid of throwing inside once in a while. So I think he's going to be good for Webb, and he's going to be good for Ray as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it was really good to see some of the things. We're trying to put up a couple things here.
Philip.
And
highlight that one. That's good.
which one was that?
Philip Coppola. That's his all capitals. Yeah.
Oh, I don't recognize.
See what happens when you go see the boys live and you just have that optimism and feeling good about it. Philip, let the games begin and you'll recognize us again. Maybe not. We'll see.
Oh, man. I am trying to get this video downloaded, but it will not download. Doggone it. All right. Not going to be able to do it.
Oh, that's fair, Jay Farrell. Jay Farrell brings up a solid point. Does Verlander have a history of being a mentor? I don't know. That's a good question. But, maybe being a little bit older, maybe he's mellowed out a little bit. Maybe when he was in his mid to late 30s, he didn't care. He just cared about getting his money. Now he's 42. The end is near. So, maybe soften up a little bit. I don't know. I'm speculating, but that's a good point. I don't know if he has a history of being a mentor for other teams and other pitchers.
Yeah. But he definitely looked to me to be playing the senior role out there. I'll tell you, it's interesting because all the guys came up, they were all in, groups. You had the outfielders and then you had the infielders. I didn't see Tyler Fitzgerald out there today. I don't know if he was on the other field or if he was sick or what, but it was Casey Schmidt and Brett Wisely taking grounders at second. We saw the whole team come out at one point and they were all, excited doing the drills, but
Encarnacion taking grounders at first. Yeah. By the way, Sean Hagelli, 6'11", Encarnacion, 6'6", and Bryce Eldridge, 6'7". We got some giants in the building now officially. Some big dudes, man. Hey, they might not win on the field baseball-wise, but they're going to have the best intramural basketball team.
Yeah. Sure. And Carson, I'm not sure if he's 6'6", 6'4", 6'5", but he's up there. He looks pretty tall, but
he's a big dude.
But I'll tell you, what was really interesting to me was in watching the groups, and you watched them come up, and you talked about all the Latin guys. They look so young, all these kids. And then we see Yaz, and I'm telling you, when you look at Yaz, he looks old.
He kind of looked out of place. Like it was a very chatty, and they were all talking in Spanish and playing around with each other. And Yaz was talking as well. I don't want it to sound like he, was a complete outsider, but he definitely kind of didn't fit in with that outfield group. Ramos, Matos, Grant McRae, who else was out there? Luciano was out there. So, those are four of our young Latin players. And now you bring in Willie Adames. So, hey, man, you know it, Cliff. Being negative is certainly not going to get that thing for sure. But we might have good news on that. We'll see.
We'll see. But, it just, he did to me. He looked old. We made the comment, he's probably glad Verlander got signed. Because I think he would have been the oldest guy on the team.
Yeah.
Is there anybody older than 34?
How old's Tom Murphy? Late 20s?
I don't know. I think Murphy's close to 30. Let me look.
Robbie
By
Ray's
the way, guys,
33,
I did ask Bo Mel today about Tom Murphy. He said it's an oblique strain, and he said 7 to 10 days, nothing serious. So he's 33. Murphy is 33. Turns 34 on April 3rd. So Murphy's the second oldest guy, position player. And then you got, of course, Verlander. But
I think that's one of the most positive things, maybe why we both have a lot of, because, for 2 years we've been talking on this channel about the Giants' young players. And 80% of the players we saw on that field today were young. There was very few older players there. So we will see. We did see. Jake Lamb might be Yaz's age. We did see him. I gave him a very subtle boo when he was hitting in the batter's box. A few people heard me, but
would you yell out to Adames in Spanish?
I told him to have a good year, and he said "Muchas gracias," and he pointed.
Well, say it how you said it.
Que te viene un año.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's only 29, Adames, and he still looks young. I mean, you look at Adames's numbers in Milwaukee; they were unbelievable.
Wilmer Flores. That's right. He's older than
that's right. Is he?
I think so. I think he's 37.
No, Flores isn't that old.
36.
He's 34, I think. Let me look. Wilmer Flores is 33, not 34 till August 6th.
Wow. I would not have guessed that. Do you want to answer Cliff Martinez's question, Dan?
Aaron, he would have mailed me. And I did talk to Logan. I yelled. I didn't have the guts today to go up to him and ask him, "Hey, Logan." I was right behind him, really. I could have just said, "Hey, Logan, want to give another shout out to NorCal Sports Network?" But
no, you did say light the beam.
I said light the beam. He went,
and he just went like that.
Yeah.
But Cliff wants to know where we went to go eat, Dan.
Oh, we went to how do you say it? DeFalco's?
Yeah, plug and shout out to DeFalco's Italian Delicatessen in Scottsdale. It's 5 minutes from the stadium. If you're coming down to spring training and you want a great deli, Dan was introduced to it today. DeFalco's Italian Eatery.
You know me, guys. Trader Dan was at work.
Yeah. He lost this one.
I made a trade with Los. We each got a whole sandwich. I said, hey, he got his first because his was cold and I was starving. So I said, hey, you want to, I got a hot one. I said, how about if we split it? I'll trade you half for half. Well, I got the Italian homemade cooked sausage with roast beef with marinara sauce on it.
And all juice.
And all juice. And Los got the cold
roast beef, turkey, and provolone.
Onion, provolone, lettuce, yeah.
So he wanted half of mine, so that means he gave up half of his Italian all juice sausage and beef sandwich, which was the bomb. I mean, they were both really good. I haven't had a bad sandwich since I've gone there, and I'm a big fan of delis. So DeFalco's Italian Eatery in Scottsdale. Excellent. It's my favorite deli in Arizona.
Okay, hold on here. Let me see.
It's called DeFalco's, Cliff. DeFalco's with a D. It's literally 5 minutes from Scottsdale Stadium. I mean, they got everything. They got a chicken parmesan sandwich. I mean, it is the owners are from New York, so it's an Italian deli. They have everything there. Really, really good portions and good food. But I do want to try the chicken and waffles when you're around. Hopefully you'll come back in March because I'm not going to be here for a couple of weeks.
Hold on, I'm trying to get some tech support here. Okay. All right. So, I got so many things open here. Let me see. What do we got here?
Yeah, I didn't see Buster today at all. He must have just stayed in the background in the clubhouse or whatever. He wasn't.
We did see Randy win. Giants spring training. There we are. I don't know. Los.
There's the boys.
There we are. So.
By the way, I don't know if you guys know this, but that you can walk in at 10 a.m., 10:15 a.m. to Scottsdale. And I don't know if they practice on the weekends, but Monday through Friday, you can walk in and watch them work out. Doesn't cost a dime. Just walk in and take a look at it. Ooh, Roxy's is tough to beat. That's a good, You know me, George, man. I love my Roxy's by Balboa Park. Roxy's split decision, slight edge. But Roxy's is also more expensive. Like you need to drop $16 to $20 for a sandwich there. $13.99 for a whole sandwich, and it's pretty large at DeFalco. So
yeah, I'm definitely going back. I might go back tomorrow just to get another sandwich. Forget the work. Forget watching the my new thing, hanging out at DeFalco's every day of the week.
Out of all these veterans, Yaz, Flores, Tom Murphy, which one do you? I might be missing one or two, not including the pitching, just everyday players. Which one do you think has the best chance of getting cut or traded, or not making the team?
Murphy,
Wilmer Flores, Yaz, Wade. I think Wade is a shoe-in guarantee because he's flexible.
I think probably Murphy would be the guy, because if he's not healthy enough, he's only $4 million, and they got Huff in camp.
I think Flores might, if Encarnacion, who is very intriguing as a power hitter, and he looks the part as a middle of the order hitter. He's got pop. I know that, he came from Mexico, and, he hasn't proven it on the major league level. That's a big step up. But he's impressive. And if he can field his position and add some pop, let's see what he does in spring training. I don't know. Maybe he makes the squad, because how do you send a guy like that down and because Wade's probably going to be partly at first base, unless for some reason, by some miracle, Eldridge makes it, which doesn't look like he will, although he should. But I think Flores would be the one most in trouble. I think they love Yaz too much. I'm going to be upset.
I could see Flores if they wanted to keep Encarnacion, because Encarnacion's out of options. So he's got to make the club, or he's exposed to waivers for them to keep him in the organization. And I was thinking of another thing, Lowe's. I think I would not be shocked to see a trade coming that either Matos, Luciano, or Schmidt gets traded by the end of camp, because they're out of they've got one option year left. Do they want to try to, if they're not going to make the club, are they going to send? I don't think there's a world where all three of these guys make the team. I could see maybe two, and I could also see one. I don't see three. I could see one, and if it's one, is it Matos? I think he has the best shot, because the outfield situation is not really. I mean, you're talking Ramos, Lee, Yaz right now as your starting outfield.
Ramos and Lee are surefire, without any injuries being played, starters. I don't know if Yaz is a definite starter. They open in Cincinnati, which is a hitter's park. And again, if they're throwing a righty out there, I really want to see Grant McCray make this team over Yaz. And I hope he, has a good spring to earn it and justify it, because I think the kid's got all the potential in the world. He's probably the best athlete on the team. And when I'm watching his drills, he has all the tools except for hitting for average. He's got power. He's got a great arm. He's got a great arm from what we saw today. He can field his position, and he can run like the wind, but he needs to get that. His weakness is he chases high fastballs a lot. He can't catch up to him. He's got to lay off of those. If he can master the strike zone, I like Grant McCray a lot to make this squad and be a factor.
Yeah, McCray, you hope he has a really good spring. I'll tell you, if McCray could really cut down on the strikeouts and hit and steal bases and have some pop, you could have, if you're going to platoon him and Matos, that leaves Yaz up for trade. there's some things that are happening already in baseball today, guys. Some news that was put out there. Rafael Devers not real happy about being possibly put at the DH spot. Sounds like Boston may go with Bregman at third base. Mike Trout is now going to be a right fielder, and I think that's good news for the Angels because he could possibly stay healthier there with less wear and tear. Aaron Judge is.
You said Devers is not happy with Boston?
He's not happy with the fact that he may end up DHing. He says, I'm not going to be the DH every day.
Let me ask you something. I know what you're going to say, but I want to see what the chat is going to say because I know a few people in the chat are going to say no. Would you trade Chapman and Doval to Boston for Devers and put him at third?
How much time do I have to decide?
5 seconds.
Yes.
There's people in this chat and there's people in the Giants fan base that will not get rid of Chapman unless you get like Ohtani or Aaron Judge in return.
I think Boston might consider that too because they got an 8-year deal with Devers left. But the problem
Devers in the Giants lineup is perfect. They need a left-handed bat in there if they're not going to play Eldridge. He is a power hitter. He is a number 4 hitter, and he could play third base. And you could, Doval, if he's not going to be the closer, you would need to throw him in as well. Hell, throw in Yaz as well. Let him go back to Boston, where his grandfather played.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love it. But
I would love Devers. Would love Devers, but that's not going to happen. They'll figure it out in Boston. Alex Cora, he's a Bregman guy. He'll figure it out. So,
when a player has a no trade clause, like Dallas mentions, can the player himself waive it though if he comes home and requests it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't know why they gave him a no trade clause.
Chapman, they gave Verlander one too, and Adames. I don't understand the no trade clause. It just gives the power to the player. You lose leverage if you have to make a deal, because look at Bregman, or not Bregman, Arenado. He was traded to Houston and he turned it down because he had a no trade clause. So St. Louis is now stuck with him, and they're trying to get rid of him. And how does that work for a clubhouse when a guy knows he's not really wanted, and yet they're trying to move off him, but you can't? I mean, that's tough.
The other thing we noticed today is Jordan Hicks has put on some muscle, a good 12 to 15 pounds. He looked bigger. Whether that translates to him having more endurance and being able to go deeper into games and not only throwing 2 quality first months of the season as a starter remains to be seen. But Jordan Hicks did look like he put on some muscle. So we'll see. Because, the first 3 guys in the rotation are set. Webb, Ray, Verlander. 4 looks like it's going to be Hicks. And that only leaves 1 spot open. And that's kind of a shame. Unless they go to a 6-man rotation, which I brought up. I don't think they'll do it. But that's a shame because the Giants got some young arms. Roop is filthy. Hayden Birdsong is even filthier. And Kyle Harrison is still out there. I mean, we can't just dismiss him, even though I thought he disappointed a little bit last year. So
I'm going to ask you a tough question. We have some chatter going on about Devers in the chat. We definitely would have a better hitting lineup, but he's not a great third baseman. Can we trade Devers to play first base and keep Chapman? We could eat salary. There's 0 chance Boston is trading Devers. 0 chance.
Oh,
all right.
I know.
Here's the nugget. You saw him today. We're going to see him shortly. Hopefully, we're working on in the back room here, technical, with some highlights. Would you trade Bryce Eldridge for Devers?
Oh.
Right now, you get us. Boston says, you know what? we'll take Bryce Eldridge. We'll give up the salary. And I'm just throwing it out there.
I would be a hypocrite because I am so into the younger players and young talent if I said yes. So I'm going to say no. I want Eldridge to be the superstar of this team moving forward. And I mean, I got to see him up close today, and I'm no scout, but for a big dude, Dan, for a big dude, big guys usually are kind of lumbering and have he's got a quick bat. He turned on an inside, pretty good heater from a lefty. I know it's just practice in the spring, but like his bat is not going to be a problem. It's his fielding.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. We know Boston's not going to trade him. They're going for it. Boston, you know what? I might, when we do our picks, I may pick Boston to come out of the American League.
No, I know Boston's not going to trade him. I just wanted to see the Giants fans, if they would consider it, would you move off of Chapman, Doval? And yes, that's just something that comes to mind. Would you give because I see so many Giants fans that are so loyal and committed to Chapman. Like they will not give him up. They think he's a superstar player. And we are on record saying he is not. He is a superstar glove, but his bat leaves a lot to be desired. And I think the Giants, quite frankly, need some more pop in that lineup than they do a glove. They have good enough gloves all over, the rest of the diamond. Adames is going to be a good shortstop. Fitzgerald looks like he's going to be a pretty good second baseman. Wade, not crazy about his bat, but he's a good glove. Ramos is a good outfielder. Lee is a good outfielder. Whoever's in right, I think their defense is not going to be their problem. Being able to hit and score runs is going to be their problem.
All right. We may have video for you guys. I think we do. Here it is. We got some video. Bryce Eldridge at the plate today with some sound. Whoa. Pulled it on the lefty. Dang. I'll see if I can get some more clips. Let's look at that one more time. That was
if before you show it again, just he's got a very quiet approach. He doesn't move a lot. His feet are pretty still. His bat is just on the shoulder, kind of wiggling around. But when I see a guy hit, I'm looking at their feet. And for a big guy, his feet are pretty stable. He has that mechanism where the front foot kind of turns as the ball is coming. But I like his batting stance. I like it a lot. So to be determined.
Yeah. I just watched the quickness of his bat speed. This is the first pitch he sees. And it's coming in off of a lefty, Burgess. Whoa. Pulled it on the lefty. Dang. Pat Burrell come over and talk to him and told him, hey, tomorrow we'll do a lot more live batting. So tomorrow we'll see a lot more live batting. Wednesday, even some more with some situational drills, they said. So probably, different guys on base doing different things. Probably have an infield behind them. you know.
The thing that's unfortunate about Eldridge is he has a lot of pressure on him as like the prospect in the Giants system. In the past, Giants prospects have kind of come up together. Will Clark came up with Robbie Thompson. Matt Williams came up a little bit later. Tim Lincecum came up, and Matt Cain followed him, and Bumgarner followed him a little bit later. Eldridge is kind of on an island by himself because the Giants have been so poor about drafting and developing players that, his broad shoulders and his 6'7" frame are weighing a lot of the responsibility of the Giants to get it right with a young player. So developing him is going to be very important. And I understand why they're going to probably keep him back. But at the same time, this team, I'm talking about the big club, not the minors, needs energy. And if this kid rakes in spring training, I just think the fan base is really, really going to want him to be in that starting lineup at first base. In Cincinnati, Haters Park, like I said, all around baseball, you see kids 20 years old starting game one and not babying them. So let's see what he does in spring training. But I'm excited for him more than I've been in it for a Giants prospect in a long time.
Yeah, exactly. And let me answer Mark's question here. We thank you, Mark, for being a member for 6 months. So do they start at Papago, then head to the stadium? No, nobody reports to Papago that's on the 40-man roster and the camp invitees, the non-roster invitees. It's all done there at Scottsdale Stadium, and they meet there in the clubhouse, and then that's where their workout rooms are. They've got their weights, everything. Then they've got all the facilities there. What Papago is all about is for their minor leaguers. So Papago is an off-season training site for minor leaguers. Scottsdale, they really only utilize for spring training. So let me see if I've got.
I'm with Mitchell and Ness, man. Who cares about age? If you can play, you can play. Jackson Chorio's playing young. Ronald Acuna's playing young. Jackson Merrill is playing young. Julio Rodriguez is playing young. I'm not saying Eldridge is going to be a superstar like those guys are, but how do you know? I mean, just let the kid play, and if he earns the job, that's what drives me crazy about the politics of sports. Well, we want to start his clock and keep him down a little bit longer. Who cares? Like, bring him up. If he earns the job, if he outplays Wade and Flores at first base, which I don't think is asking a whole lot, let that kid start. He's a middle of the order type of player, and he's a lefty, which is desperately needed. That lineup right now is very right-handed oriented, and good right-handed pitchers are going to get them out. Right.
Exactly. So, hold on here. I'm just.
Can you just imagine? Eldridge does well, and I know it's asking a lot, but Ramos. Or no, let's say Adames 3, Eldridge 4, and Ramos 5. That's not bad. I don't want Chapman hitting 3, 4, 5. He's not a middle of the order guy. He's a 7-place hitter at best. That's not bad at all. Righty, lefty, righty. Wishful thinking, but stranger things have happened.
Yeah. So I'm working with my son. I'm trying to get these videos. It's weird because I have an iPhone. I should have took videos on your phone, Los. The videos from my iPhone has to be converted to MP4, which StreamYard requires to upload.
Oh, I see.
So I think an Android shoots it straight in an MP4. I think. I know Apple does not. So it's kind of a pain to, get all these things done. And I'm the opposite of Farhan when it comes to technical. Blue. So, Marcus Tanner says, remember what Cubs did with Chris Bryant? What's he talking about with Chris Bryant? Because of his swing, his height?
trying to remember. Chris Bryant, I believe did he play early? And he failed? You got to refresh my memory, Marcos. I usually have a pretty good memory.
No, he was rookie of the year, I believe, in 20.
So he played early and succeeded early.
Yeah.
I think that's the myth, is they think that, Doc Gooden was 19 when he jumped onto the scene, and he just dominated in spring training. You think the Mets said, holy crap, this guy's got electric stuff. Oh, let's send him to Double-A. He needs more seasoning. Hell no, he can get out big league hitters right now. So there is plenty of precedent of young players coming in and being good players. Like, we don't need Eldridge to be a superstar right away. We just need him to be like a presence, a guy that's going to hit for more power than Lamont Wade and Wilmer Flores is. Wilmer Flores and Lamont Wade scare nobody at all. And Eldridge doesn't either yet. But I'll tell you what, when he stands in that box and that pitcher looks at what's standing in that box, he looks menacing. Whether he produces and backs up his size is another thing, but I want to see it.
Yeah.
I know this, and Dan will back me on this. When he got into the cage, there was a buzz in that crowd. There was a buzz in that crowd, like anticipating, 88's in the box. By the way, get a new number, please. But
they're already saying his number is going to change. It's just
yeah, interesting. Yeah, we don't need Michael. We don't need that Michael Irvin's number here in San Francisco. Drew Pearson, 88. Trying to think of a 49er 88.
I do have some stuff for us talking about Eldridge that. Let me get rid of. Let's see, what do we got here? Hold on. Eldridge has some muscle. Yes, Dan. Keep getting footage of him. I will work at it often as I can get down there.
What would you say? What would you say his weight is, Dan? If he's 6'7", what did he look like to you visually today?
Visually, maybe 210, 220.
I'm curious to see what the stats say on him. If somebody could look that up.
Oops. Let's see what we got here. Okay, we got an article here. We don't have any sound going on there, do we?
I don't hear nothing.
Okay, good. All right. The number 88 jersey, as large as any in Giants camp, and with that number that likely will be updated this season, has been hanging in the locker for several days. The man who wears it has been in Arizona since early January, and at times over the last week, he popped into the clubhouse just to check in. But because he's a non-roster invitee, the Giants asked Bryce Eldridge to keep working out at their minor league facility a few miles away until position players officially reported to Scottsdale Stadium on Monday morning. You're going to like this article, by the way, Los, what Bryce Eldridge has to say. That would be difficult for anyone preparing for a first big league at camp. It's probably a bit more challenging when you're only 20 years old and anxious to prove that you're ready for the next step. They had to chain me back from this place, Eldridge said Monday, smiling.
I love it.
It will certainly be the last time. The first baseman in the organization's best prospect and one of the top 20 overall in the minor leagues. And if all goes according to plan, he will spend the next decade plus at Scottsdale Stadium. When he reports here next year, he should already be headed for a starting job and possibly the heart of the lineup. They are lofty expectations, but that's what happens when you tear through the minors the way Eldridge did last season. A full-time first baseman for the first time, Eldridge hit 23 homers, posted an 890 OPS in 116 minor league games, going from low A all the way up to triple A, and then getting tired out in the Arizona Fall League where he hit 2 homers in 10 games. It was a marathon first season for Eldridge, who turned 20 in October, but he checked every box, and he's Baseball America's number 12 prospect. Baseball Prospectus has him at 15, and other outlets aren't far behind. The hitting is already way beyond a 20-year-old, so it's just getting him comfortable and getting him in the games and let him get some at-bats and play, manager Bob Melvin said, and then go do his thing and push the envelope. He performed really well last year. There's a balance of, are you giving somebody too much coming to the big league camp? And we don't feel like we are. Farhan's regime pushed Eldridge hard last season, sending him to AAA to finish the year. Let me see here. Some within the organization felt that possibly was meant to show that the Giants' future might be brighter than it appeared at the time, but certainly will be a different approach now that Buster Posey and Zach Menason are in charge of baseball ops, and Randy Wynn has been added at the top of the development staff. They believe in being more patient, and they don't intend on rushing top prospects through the minors. Eldridge, though, might prove to be the exception. Giants officials marvel at his maturity and sense of comfort, and there's a belief that his bat is just about ready for the big leagues. Eldridge himself doesn't sound like someone who wants to spend too much time in Sacramento this season. He laughed Monday and said he's still pissed about not getting a splash hit when he took BP at Oracle after the 23 draft. And he added that he hopes to cross that off the bucket list later this season. You're not going to have a lot of success in this game if you don't believe you're the best out there, he said. That's just how I feel. Every time I go out there, I think I'm the best in the least cocky way possible. It's also going to be there. Even now, I feel like I belong with these guys. That's good news, guys. That is good news because this kid's 20 and he already believes. What number do you think Bryce picks? I have a feeling 21's available. I told Ramos today, I said, Elliot, go change your jersey number to 21. What, Roberto? He said, I don't know. I mean, I got him thinking, though. I bet he hadn't. I wonder if he hadn't thought of it. Might not even crossed his mind, not even knowing it was available.
It's available, and it's his favorite player. Why not?
Yeah, and he wore it last year when it was Roberto Clemente Day. And what did you think he did? Put the ball in the cove.
Boom.
Put the ball in the cove for the first time. No, Kyle. 22's retired.
I'm trying to think of a good number for Eldridge. Like, just certain numbers look good on. He's a big dude. McCovey's 44, the last big left-handed first baseman we had. We can't give him 44. But he looks like somebody that could have something in the 30s or 40s. I don't know about the 20s. 20s are pretty filled up with Will Clark 22, Barry Bonds 25, Marichal 20. Yeah, 20s are kind of filled up. Something in the 30s. I'm trying to think of a stud first baseman that was in the 30s.
Is 45 taken? I used to be Terry Whitfield. 44 is Mac, right? He's retired.
What was Eddie Murray's number? Baltimore.
I don't remember. I want to say something like 30. I'm sure.
32, Marco says. Yeah, I'm down with 32. Does anybody have 32 now?
Well, we got a little highlight here again. This is pretty funny, guys. This is Jung-Hoo Lee, and he almost gets hit. Listen for the sound. I thought he got hit, but just what was more impressive is you can notice his lower body. You can see that he put on some muscle. Jung-Hoo Lee. Yeah. He got hit. He's built. Let's listen to he got hit. How many Korean? We had some Koreans sitting right next to us. And there was Korean reporters all over the contingent, and so we have a little Korean. What's the word? We have some commentary, Korean commentary on the play. See if you can make this out one more time. Yeah. Got hit.
That would not have been good. First workout and he gets drilled in the ribs, and he needs to stay healthy. I told Dan this, and we saw it last year, but we were reminded because he got hurt so early. Jung-Hoo Lee is not your little typical 5'6", 5'7", 150, 160 pound slap hitter. He's 6'1", and I would say, I think last year he might have played at 175. I think he's about 190 now this year. Yeah.
Got hit. I heard the I thought that's why he got hit. I thought the sound. I thought, man, I think that I didn't remember who was pitching. I think it was. Let me look. I might have it on my phone with others because I had some of the ones where I had the widescreen, and I'll take a look here and see.
Yeah, Marcos, he's projected to lead off. We were talking about that today. He's a guy that has speed, and he needs to learn how to use that speed when he gets on base and steal bases. Just because you have speed doesn't mean you're a great base runner. I don't think in Korea he was asked to steal many bases, so maybe he just doesn't get good leads, doesn't read pitchers' moves. But that's what spring is for. He needs to learn how to do that because he's one of the few guys in the Giants lineup that has very good hand-eye coordination and will put the bat on the ball, which is what you want from a old school leadoff hitter. You want a guy that'll take pitches and put the ball in play, use his speed, get some infield, hits. But he's got a little pop. Like I said, he's not a small dude. So
yeah, I got him in the box. It was Roop.
Landon Roop.
There he is. It was Roop pitching. So I don't think he swung at anything. He was just, he was just up there, but it was Roop that almost hit him. That would not put too many feathers in Roop's cap to make this club if you injured Jung-Hoo Lee on day one. We'll get some more. I've got more highlights, but there wasn't a ton of stuff out there that was, here's the three guys walking there. Verlander, Webb, and Ray. Let me see if I got that again. I didn't get them all uploaded, but there they are. They were standing behind the mound the whole time.
Well, Dallas is saying that per Bowmel that Wade is leading off. I don't like that. I know he has a good on base percentage, but I don't like Lee hitting third. He's not a 3-hitter.
Doesn't seem like it. I like Lee in the 2-hole personally. I don't mind. I would not mind if you put Wade first and put Lee second to get Wade in. I mean, Lee's going to be able to, maybe in the second spot, but
if Wade is going to play, I kind of like him hitting 9th because it's like you get a leadoff hitter at the bottom of the order. I like Lee leading off. I like Fitzgerald hitting second. 2 fast guys at the top of the lineup. Again, I don't know what's going to happen with Eldridge, but I don't want Chapman in the middle of that lineup. So Wade, he's going with Wade because he gets on base. But some good teams have a guy that gets on base and has a high on base percentage hitting 9th, because then it's got like you have back-to-back leadoff hitters, 9th and 1.
It's true if your 9th guy's leading off with no outs, but if he comes up with 1 out or 2 outs. The one thing about Wade, though, before he got injured last year, his on base percentage was better than Bonzo. He was 470. He had a 470 on base percentage. Think about that. He's getting on almost half the time. The one thing I like about that, especially even when the lineup comes around and if there's a rally going on or something and you got a runner on, the fact that Wade can get back on base, I like having a guy that can hit for average behind him. I like Lee and I like Adames third. And then I would move, if I had Adames third, then I would probably go, Ramos 4th and Chapman 5th. The problem with this lineup is they need a solid lefty. That's why Eldridge is so important. Because if Eldridge can break up the middle of that right-handed conglomerate, which is going to get that's a bad part of the order and it's your top of your order when it's right. Adames, Chapman, Ramos.
Let me ask you this, Danny. If by some miracle Eldridge makes the team, would you DH him and keep Wade, who's a solid glove at first? Or do you think that would kind of mess with his head where he's only hitting and not out there? Because, some guys need to be out in the field to feel like they're contributing all around. Would it be too much to put on his plate to expect him to be a good fielder and a hitter? Maybe just let him focus on hitting.
Yeah, I think I would try it one way or the other. I think I would say, okay, let's see how you're doing. Maybe occasionally put him in. Maybe that's one of the best ways to slow play him with his glove is instead of playing him, 150 at first base, maybe he only plays 40, 50 games at first base this year and kind of learns the position, but he gets to play 150 plus games behind at batting. And that keeps his head a little bit engaged, learning at first base, but he's not, that liability out there. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen. They pretty much committed to the fact that they're not going to rush. But if this kid tears it up, I'm excited to see just his bat. And I'm going to try and make as many games as possible. I'll be going to day one. Cliff Martinez, if you're still out there in the chat, I'll come out. We'll get out there on Saturday. I'll see if I can get to the Sunday game as well over in Scottsdale. But
well, staying with the Wade hitting 9, think about this, that whoever's hitting 8th makes the last out. So the next inning, you got Wade coming up, and somehow, because he has a great on-base percentage, he gets on base. Now you got Lee coming up. You got a contact hitter hitting behind him. So now you can hit and run a little bit more because you got a guy that will put the bat in. Wade's not a speedster by any means, but you can put on, again, different ways of scoring runs besides just waiting for the home run ball, which this team doesn't have a ton of power. It's better with Adames, but it still is not a team considering to have a lot of power. So
I like what George is saying here. Need to trade Yaz, Flores, Murphy to open slots for younger.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is time to move on. It is very yes. We'll make it happen, Cliff.
If you go with Cliff, he is going to take you to Lolo's. Just letting you know, chicken and waffles.
Okay.
Yeah. So be prepared.
Adames home run. Was there an Adames home run? We saw him hit one. Did that go out, the one he hit, or did he hit it to the track?
He hit it to the track, didn't go over.
And then did he hit a home run later? Because that one he hit to the track was off live batting practice, or live, right? That was live pitching.
Yeah, if he hit one, we didn't see it. We were there for 2+ hours.
Yeah, we decided to head out. But there's another thing I was looking at in terms of this whole thing with Eldridge. If he can, at some point make it and you can get him in that 4th spot. The problem is I don't want Chapman hitting behind him because you lose the protection. Yes, Senior, he was hitting off of a live pitcher. He was hitting off of, we'll show
Burgess.
it again, Burgess, and he's a lefty. Whoa. Pulled it on the lefty. Dang. I can. Whoa. Let's just look at that bat. Just look at. Whoa.
Well, the interesting thing about lefties that are tall like him is their weakness is inside because they can't extend.
Right.
And that caught my eye today. Again, I get it.
Whoa.
Turns on it. And then if you go away on this guy, like look at his YouTube highlights. Like he has power to all fields. I've seen him hit homers down the line and left. Seen him hit it to left center. Seen it to center, and obviously he's pulled it. So he's got power that translates to all fields. So when people talk about, well, Oracle might hold him back because of right center, yeah, that could be true. But this is a kid that can hit a lot of homers out to left, and left field at Oracle is not that far away. So he's very intriguing. I think when he really gets his groove, whenever that'll be, I don't think he's going to be one of these guys that's a power hitter hitting 210 or 220. I think he could be a solid 250 to 275 hitter with power in this lineup.
I'm looking here through my videos to see if I had any more on Eldridge. I thought I had more on him, Los. Oh, here it is. I had it. Let me.
Did we get his weight? Is it 210?
I didn't get it.
Because he'll fill out. He's only 20 years old. He might probably be 6'7", 225, which is fine.
Here's another cut. I don't have it uploaded yet.
That's the one he hit to left field.
Yeah, I hit it to left. A little bit inside out, wasn't it?
Yeah, inside out swing.
Let's take a look at that again. Yeah.
I think what I want to see from Eldridge is I think he can hit the fastball all day. Most young hitters can, righty or lefty. I want to see how he handles left-handed breaking balls, because that sometimes is tough for, sometimes young left-handed hitters don't see a lot of left-handed pitching in the minors. And then they get to the majors and they see those, sweepers and nasty curves. And I want to see how he handles that.
Here's some outfield drills, just guys going into the hole, backhanding. And then this is Matos. Here comes is that Encarnacion or is that Ramos? That's Ramos.
That's Ramos. Who do you think has a better arm, Ramos or McRae?
There's Lucy. He missed it. He missed the ground ball.
Just like shortstop. Dan, who do you think has a better arm out of Ramos and McRae?
That's a tough one. I would say I think wow. I think Ramos has more
velocity,
more distance, like throw it farther.
McRae might have more accuracy
and quicker. He
gets rid of it quick, and it's on a line.
Yeah, it just kind of explodes real quick. But I'm not sure. Haven't seen him really air it out. I've seen Ramos can air it out.
Is Ramos technically supposed to be the right or left fielder this year?
Left fielder.
Definitely is left.
Definitely.
Is that smart? Because he's got a great arm. Are we wasting his arm and not being in right?
I think they like the idea of Yaz covering that right center and all that. I don't know why they're focused on Yaz. I really don't.
It always comes back to Yaz, man. Like just accommodating him.
Yeah.
Like he struggled. Remember last year he struggled in spring, and he still made the team. And Ramos struggled and he went down. And then Ramos came up and he became an all-star, and Yaz still struggled.
Yeah.
So the young guy made adjustments, and the older vet, what adjustment can you make? You've been in the league for 8 years, whatever it is. You're out of adjustments, buddy.
There's Yaz again.
Like I have no problem Yaz making the team, but he's the fifth outfielder, not a third or a fourth.
The guy that's funny to watch to me in the outfield drills is Meckler.
Meckler doesn't have a position, unfortunately. He can hit, but he's just not a very good outfielder.
There he is. There's Meckler. He just doesn't look. He just doesn't look to me.
He looks like a second baseman.
Yeah.
He looks like him and Wisely are basically twins. So, yeah. But it was a good day. Good time out there.
guys, I'll try and get out there more. Los is heading to Japan this week.
Yep.
Friday or Thursday?
Thursday.
So you'll be arriving in Japan on Saturday?
No, I get there Friday at 6 p.m. So
okay,
I'll be heading over and trying to recruit some Japanese superstars to San Francisco for a change.
Yeah, see if you can get a visit with Murakami and see if you get him signed.
Gonna stop that.
You know what?
Gonna stop that Tokyo to LA shuttle.
Yeah,
if I
you know
can.
what? I will authorize the NorCal budget, Sports Network budget, and just go ahead and it's open book. Just see if you can get him signed to a big bonus. And when you get back,
is NorCal Sports Network sponsoring my trip? Can I upgrade to first class? I want to lay down on the plane. It's a 9.5 hour flight.
Oh, that's nothing. 9.5 hours, Los. Man, I've been on a 15-hour straight one to the Philippines.
I know, that's brutal.
Hours. That's brutal.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I've been on hey, try flying across the Pacific from Korea and passing a kidney stone. Did it in 2014. No, 2012. It was the worst experience of my life. Oh gosh, it was awful.
I'll be back, Kyle. I'll be back for 2-3 weeks of spring training. Don't worry, I'll get to some March games.
Yeah, guys, we'll be back tomorrow night with Ned Colletti.
Nice.
Tomorrow night, Ned Colletti will come on a little later, 8:30, guys, tomorrow night. So make sure you're tuned in for that. Ned Colletti, the great former assistant GM of the Giants and general manager of the LA Dodgers, will join us live tomorrow night, 8:30 California time. You know what? I got to change this. Hey, we're almost changing times here. When's daylight savings time?
I have no idea.
I think it's is it in March?
For some reason, I want to say it's in April, but I could be wrong.
What is tomorrow night? February 18th. I got to change this whole. I had a February 18th. Okay. So let me save that and then put that up there. There we go. Tomorrow night. Nope. Tomorrow tonight. That doesn't look right. But tomorrow tonight. There we go. Tomorrow. I forget. Tomorrow.
Make sure you throw a question at Ned tomorrow about Eldridge, Danny, about like what do you think his philosophy would be when you have a kid that has like all the potential to be like really something special, and he shows it in 4 weeks of spring training. Do you still keep him down if he's obviously better than the other alternatives at first base? Be curious what he has to say.
Okay. First Saturday in March is daylight saving. So California springs forward, catches up with Arizona. Guys, California keeps trailing us, Los. They're trailing us. For half the year, they run equal with us, but then they fall back behind us again.
Get with the program, Callie.
Come on, Callie. Everybody passes. Oh, I'm sorry about that, Marcus. That was brutal. That was the worst experience. I literally was sick to my stomach, puking my guts out in the bathroom, and I thought to myself, is there a eject button in this plane? I'm jumping. Yeah, in that bathroom. I was just like, I didn't want to live. I did not want to live, man. I was just dying. And it's like, but anyway, so hopefully no more of that, please, Lord. None of that stuff. All right, guys, we are out of here. Thank you for watching and being part of NorCal Sports Network. We really do appreciate you being here. We know you have other things you could be doing. Please give us a like on this show tonight. Subscribe to the channel if you're watching and have not done so already. We really do appreciate it. And we will catch you tomorrow night at 8:30 with Ned Coletti tomorrow night, guys. So take care, and we will see you tomorrow night.